Some of these brands have stopped selling some of these products and reintroduced new versions. And some of these brands have just completely gotten rid of pigmented, really high quality products in favor of just making duplicates of the same duplicates that other beauty brands are also making. Either way, we fall for it and we spend our money, and I'm not exempt from that either. So let's just get into Spinning the Beauty Block episode 4. Hey everyone, so we are back with another Spin in the Beauty Block episode. This is going to be interesting because a lot of these products are products that we saw a few years ago. They're coming back. Some of them are still favorites, but I think I've just got a few things to say about, well, everything, because I always have things to say. First up, Glow Recipes Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dew Balm. It's SPF 45 and $30. This is a product that was released just last year. And I put it in here because it made me remember, especially after doing a whole month of sunscreen content. And if you haven't seen that on all of my social medias and here on YouTube, I did a full length video sort of reviewing all of the sunscreens I own. I put this here because I do have the Dew Balm, and I think it is a really nice sunscreen if you want a visible glow and dew, and also if you have dry skin and you kind of want to bring some life back into your skin. But I put it here because they released a few sunscreens before that are no longer available. I have, and I've reviewed the Glow Recipe. There was a watermelon like liquid sunscreen that they just sort of re-released in a new version recently, and they have this Dew Balm. So they've got a lot of different sunscreens. They tried a liquid SPF before, phased that one out, reintroduced this Dew Balm, and then also have introduced a new liquid version of sunscreen. And I really would like to know, like, what happens behind the scenes? Like, what happened in the sunscreen before that didn't work? And then why have you reintroduced it? It doesn't seem like the liquid version is that much different from the previous version. I didn't particularly care for the first liquid SPF they came out with, mostly because it was too glowy, like greasy, oily, glowy. And I wasn't really into that. I wonder if the new version is different. So far from what I'm seeing, it looks pretty glowy. It looks pretty much like the same. So, I just wanted to put that in here. That Glow Recipe is definitely trying their hand at the sunscreen game, and they will continue to try because, sunscreen is all the rage right now. Have you tried this one? I think it's pretty good. I wouldn't suggest any Glow Recipe sunscreen products right now unless you really love a visible glow and if you have dry skin. Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palettes were literally the it palettes to have. It was collector's item. People were buying every single one. The beauty influencers, the beauty gurus of that time were reviewing them. They were pigmented. They had fun shades. The arrangements were really unique because I think before the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina Pro palettes, and really around that time, you were seeing palettes where it looked like the gradient sort of matched. You always saw brow bone shades that then faded into eyelid shades that then blended into deeper crease shades. It was always sort of like a shaded, a formula. Well, how do I say? It was always a gradient. But now with the Norvina palettes, they just mixed it up, put different shades, different places. There were mattes, there were shimmers, and it was all together. This Volume 4 palette that I'm specifically talking about was a 25 shade palette. It was bright pinks, some soft neutrals. It was sort of glam toppers, glitter toppers, and it was released May of 2020. People loved this palette and really the whole collection because it was bright, it was bold. The palettes had pretty much everything you needed from like doing a neutral look, but then also pops. I miss this time. And this is like, if you're not sure of the time where you hear people say on social media, like, oh, I miss this time of YouTube and of the beauty community. Like, this is kind of that time that they were talking about, probably in the range of 2015 to 2020. There was a solid set of years where bold, like eye looks, the like exaggerated looks, the artistry of makeup was like very much in. And this is what they're talking about. Just in case you're younger and you don't know. A lot of y'all know. Y'all get the vibes. Y'all get the vibes. Kim Kardashian West at the time had KKW Beauty, and they came out with these skin perfecting body foundations. Do y'all remember these? These were $45. They were released like mid-summer 2019. They were supposed to be literally body foundations, water resistant foundations in 7 shades that were supposed to conceal like pigmentations or skin conditions. And they also had like a vanilla coconut scent. This is really interesting because I've started to see on TikTok the resurgence of these sort of like body covering, can cover everything, can cover tattoos or any sort of things you want to cover. Like I've started to see that a lot on TikTok, and I wonder if it's making a comeback. It made me think of this product because although it was popular, it didn't really have that much of a use. I wonder if something like this is going to come back like in the new age of like beauty where people are using it for artistry a little bit more. I'm starting to see more people like get into more theatrical big looks. Maybe this would have had a second resurgence if KKW beauty was a thing. I mean, well, it is, but it's not in the same way. Anyway, this was an interesting product. It did seem to work in not being being transfer resistant. So I do remember that, but I don't remember it being like a super popular product. Like it wasn't like people were rushing out to get it other than the fact that it was like KKW beauty. What do you remember about this? Have you seen others, like people in your life, friends, family, use body covering foundations to cover up different like things like tattoos or different imperfections that they don't want to show or pigmentation? I'm interested. I feel like it's something that people would use in like movies, videos, Hollywood productions, but not necessarily as much in regular life. You let me know. Elf had their try at the CBD lines. Remember, I've been saying that like everyone was doing CBD collections at one point. Well, I missed Elf. They did a CBD skincare trio set. It was pretty much like a moisturizer. There was an eye cream. There was a facial oil. Or was it a body oil? No, it was a facial oil. And it was supposed to be like budget CBD, powered by all of the like usual CBD heavy ingredients. So it was like moisturizing, it was supposed to be like calming, all of the things. It was supposed to soothe the skin and be non-greasy. It came out mid 2020, and I don't remember a lot of people talking about it. Maybe some of the influencers that got it, like it's PR, but I think this was very short-lived. Elf does a really great job of like coming out with whatever is current. Like they can whip that stuff up together real fast, put it out to you. And if it does great, great. And if not, they'll just chuck it out, put it on sale and move on. I'm here for that though, because it's like, if you're going to be a budget brand, like you really have to know the pulse of what's going on. And so whatever that trend is, hop on it and keep moving. They kept this moving. This stuff was $10 to $20 each, by the way. Look, that's a whole nother topic. Elf's new skin tint is like almost $20. I think it's $18. Is Elf trying to position themselves to be like a regular brand, a non-drugstore brand? Well, can I even say that though? Drugstore makeup has been increasing in price for the last few years as well. And maybe Elf is trying to position themselves as like not a budget brand, but like we are a drugstore brand. Because I think there's a difference. I think there's a difference between budget brands that are very, very inexpensive, and then drugstore brands seem to be on top of that. So I would say like a budget brand would be like maybe Essence Cosmetics. Some of the brands that are like exclusive to online or direct to consumer type brands that can sell things very, very inexpensively. To some extent, like Makeup Revolution could be considered one of those brands as well. And then we've got drugstore brands, like traditional drugstore brands like L'Oreal and Maybelline, that have been increasing their prices. And I feel like Elf, instead of being a budget brand, is really trying to go for drugstore staple. What do you think about that? I'm probably just rambling at this point. Speaking of drugstore brands, Maybelline released the Lifter glosses with hyaluronic acid mid-2020s. And this is still a really popular collection. I've got 5 of these by myself. I love these glosses. I think this really came about once we saw Fenty Beauty come out with their gloss bombs. That sort of juicy, hydrating, like really shiny lip gloss or lip balms really changed everything. And it was so smart of Maybelline to get in it while the getting was good. This is a non-sticky, high shine gloss powered, what they say, powered by hyaluronic acid in 20 shades. And they've come out with a few different versions now. At this point, there is the actual lifter glosses. There's also some more pigmented versions. They came out with the spicy ones that are like with the chili. They are super spicy, like burn your lips. I have one. Maybelline also came out with a really new collection of like glosses that kind of have a honey oil type of consistency that is supposed to be, I think, mostly a dupe for the Gisou lip oils. But we can talk about that another time. I'm actually going to be reviewing those soon. These are really great glosses. I think that Maybelline did something super unique. And for some reason, I haven't seen any of the other drugstore brands, like traditional drugstore brands like L'Oreal, Maybelline. I haven't seen them come out with something that really can like compete really well with what Maybelline has with these lifter glosses. I see these being around for a very long time. I love them. The doe foot applicator, they're really glossy, juicy. These are like really great products. 2020, it's been 5 years and they're still around. I think they're going to be around for a while. Do y'all remember the Makeup Revolution X Tammy Tropical Carnival collection? Whoa. So if you aren't sure or if you don't know, Makeup Revolution is a UK-based brand that really was popular towards the end of the 2010s. I would say somewhere between 2017 and 2020. They were able to come up with essentially dupes of every major popular product at the time. And that was sort of controversial, which is really interesting because Elf is like that girl for the dupes, but back then I think Makeup Revolution was really at the forefront of like dupe culture when it comes to affordable dupes for products. Now, prestige brands dupe products of other prestige brands and at the same price point, and they're just hoping that you like their brand better for you to buy it. I'm on a tangent, but anyway, Makeup Revolution in its dupery and coming out with so many new products all the time, collaborated with a YouTuber and what was she on YouTube? With a beauty guru, Tammy, who was very popular, also a UK beauty guru, very popular, very beautiful and talented. They came up with a collaboration and they've done a few collaborations as a matter of fact, but this one in particular, I remember because it was so beautiful, bright, bold colors. And this is another opportunity that was not really given to a lot of beauty gurus, beauty influencers of color. And so this was really exciting. This collection was an eyeshadow palette, like an 18 shade eyeshadow palette. And the mattes were stunning. The shimmers were gorgeous. Like this was just a beautiful palette. And they also came out with two different sets of like a bronzer contour palette that had the highlighter. Of course, if you were into makeup back then, you know that 4-pan palette that had one or two highlighter shades and one or two bronzer shades or contour shades was super popular then. And Makeup Revolution with the Tammy collaboration came out with two versions of those. Really speaking to the dark-skinned girls, it was iconic. Like anytime I can go back and look at pictures of collaborations where they were specifically for dark-skinned beauties, it just makes me smile, it makes me happy, and it makes me wish that there were more of those collaborations. But I digress. This came out in mid 2018, if I didn't say, and really the vibrancy and the pigmentation and that payoff was something like unmatched. Really, Makeup Revolution was able to do that for the girls. I think that brands are really walking back a lot from that, I guess, because, you know, the natural it girl, like clean girl aesthetic was in. I'm hoping we're getting back out of that because although I probably seem a lot more neutral and clean and simple with like my makeup style, I really prefer pigmented products. Like let me build it up. Like let me sheer it out if I need to. Let me be able to play with it. Like it's hard to do that sometimes with these products that are just like sheer and not buildable. Like let's go back to the pigmentation. That's what I want. The ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundations were $16 and they were released in 2021. This was like a skincare infused, medium buildable type of natural radiant finish, all of those buzzwords kind of product. But I put this here specifically because I had saved this picture a long time ago of the Pretty Fresh foundation and what they sent out as PR. And there was a bit of time, so around this 2020, 2021 time, where beauty brands specifically made an effort to cut down on the type of packaging they were sending for like influencer PR packages. And I remember that being a really big discourse on like Instagram and Reddit, and people really praising brands for not sending every single shade out to beauty influencers in these big wasteful packages. Things were starting to get streamlined a lot more with like regular cardboard packaging. And some brands, like how ColourPop did here, decided to send out small versions, like little mini versions of each of the shades for influencers that wanted to swatch all the shades and take pictures and show their audience what it really looked like. And I wish that we could go back to that. A lot of brands have decided to a lot of brands have decided to pare down how they send out PR. So they'll send out 3 shades of a foundation or just a few instead of the whole range, which I think is helpful. But I think we could even do a little bit better than that by just sending mini versions of things. Like we don't need to necessarily have each shade sent to an influencer when a lot of them are not doing makeup in like makeup pictures and photography that beauty creators were doing in past years, if that makes sense. So like remember back in the day, like a lot of beauty creators, they would not only swatch every shade like on their arm or on their face, they would also take pictures of it and they would post the pictures. Like there was a lot of effort put into showing all of the shades, every eyeshadow shade, every lipstick, all of that. Now influencers really don't do that. They'll show the ones that they like the most. So you can send an influencer your brand new collection of 10 or 12 blushes, and they'll pick up one and be like, ooh, I like these 3. And they'll show those. And then the rest is just really gone. The days of, swatching all of them just to show your audience is not as popular. I wish brands would go back to sending minis or sending just a few select shades, or maybe just even asking the influencers themselves, hey, what shades? We're coming out with something new. What shades are you liking? Are you looking for berry shades? Do you like peachy shades? Do you like pink shades? And at least try to do that. Save yourself some money and save like the waste. Okay, I'm not the waste police. I'm pretty wasteful. If you've seen any of like my hoarding of beauty products and declutters, you know that. So I'm not trying to be self-righteous at this point, but you get what I'm saying. It was really nice that ColourPop did that. And I remember in that 2020, 2021 time, a lot of brands were streamlining things with their PR packages, but we've seen to go right back to the big, massive PR packages that no one really needs. There's just so much. It's so much. Remember when Becca came out with a zero pigment foundation? Like what was the point of this? This was released August of 2020. So this was just like bad timing in general, obviously. But Becca's Zero Pigment Foundation was supposed to be a sheer foundation with no pigment, blur technology, hyaluronic acid to smooth, mattify, and hydrate without coverage. Man, this really predates things going like viral on TikTok in terms of like the beauty space. But if Becca was still Becca and released something like this right now, it would get so much buzz and attention because the influencers would jump at the chance to like make a video calling this a foundation. We already know that this was basically a primer, a makeup primer, a smoothing, mattifying primer. It was praised for having like a blurring effect and not having the skin feel like dehydrated, perfect for like makeup application, but there was no coverage because there was no pigment. It was not a foundation. This was 100% a gimmick, and it's just so funny because it didn't go over well back in 2020 when it came out, but also, bad timing. If this had came out this year, like right now, it would be viral. had it not happened before. Like, let's just say we had never seen this before. And then I'm trying to think of a brand. Milk Makeup. Let's say Milk Makeup decided to come out with a zero pigment foundation just like this. It would go viral on social media. And it would probably sell a lot because people would try it just to make the video to be like, this is not foundation. Speaking of really popular on TikTok, let's talk about One Size by Patrick Starr. I say that because the One Size brand is always on TikTok. Like, they stay on a TikTok live, okay? And back in 2020, they released the Go Off Juiciest Makeup Remover wipes for $15 for 21 count. They were supersized, red packaged makeup wipes that were infused with aloe, coconut water, cucumber, and was able to like remove so much makeup. And what made these so awesome and unique was the size. Like, the regular size of a makeup wipe could have been like the size of my hand, right? But these were pretty much like two sizes almost of your hands to really get that makeup off. These were awesome. Like, I loved them. I remember trying them at least like 2 times. I think I bought them 2 times and then moved on to some other things, but these were really good. They were really, convenient, obviously, because they had like the same packaging of a regular makeup wipe, but because they were twice as big, you really didn't have to use as many. Like, I remember being able to get my full face off with just the one makeup wipe. Whereas like at that time, a lot of makeup wipes, you needed like 2. And if you had on really heavy makeup, maybe 3 of them to be able to get off all of your makeup. But you didn't have to do that with these. They were really good. They were very moist. They were very hydrating. I love this product. Do you remember this product? Do you use makeup wipes? I still use makeup wipes. I feel like it's like slightly controversial now to even use makeup wipes, but for me, it depends on what I'm doing. I will always keep makeup wipes just off the strength that I do swatches and pictures where I'm swatching products a lot on my hands and my arms. So I always need makeup wipes for that. But then also when removing certain types of makeup, sometimes I just want to remove it quickly and I'll use like a makeup removing spray, which we'll talk about next, and then use a makeup wipe to wipe it off there. Sometimes I use makeup wipes in combination with micellar water to get my makeup off if I know that I'm not getting ready to shower and wash my face or wash my face at a sink. Makeup wipes still have a huge use in my like everyday makeup routine. But let me know, do you use makeup wipes still, or what are you using? I also use like makeup removing oils, the sort of teary makeup remover cloths that are reusable. I basically use everything because depending on what I'm doing and depending on my mood, I use whatever I'm feeling at that time. I just mentioned it, but the One Size Go Off makeup spray dissolving mist came out also in 2020, right when the makeup wipes came out. And my goodness, this was my favorite product. This was like a holy grail for me. I had never tried anything like it. I had used makeup removing oils, which I still use, and this just changed everything. Being able to have that easy sprayer, man, in love with it. I bought it 2 times, and right before they decided to discontinue it, I got a mini of it that I still have in my collection just because I was hoping, waiting, and wishing that they would bring it back. And they did recently bring back the makeup dissolving mist. It's now a makeup and wig adhesive dissolving mist. It's beautiful. They've changed the like mist on it. So it's a super fine mist. It's hydrating, gets all your makeup off. It's so good. If you haven't tried something like this and you know you want to like have something super easy, something that you can literally just spray on your face and emulsify it and wash it off, or what I typically do, this is becoming like a completely different video at this point. I'm talking so much. Or if you want to just spray over your entire face, and then what I do is take a makeup wipe and then continue to get everything off. This is it. I'll have a review on this soon just because it's top of mind and I did recently record using it. I love it. It's so good. The original was so good. I was so sad that it got taken away. I don't know what happened or why it went away. It's been probably a few years. Okay, so if this came out in 2020, I know it was around for at least a year. So it's probably been gone for about 3 years and it just released it. So I'm excited about that. It also had at the time jojoba oil, rose hip oils, and it was supposed to just melt off all the full glam. It did, and the new version does too. Good on One Size for bringing that back. You know what's also gone that I'm really surprised about? The Sol de Janeiro Brazilian Kiss Tinted Cupacao. I think so. I think that's what that is. Lip butters. These were $18. They came out late summer 2020. They were a vegan lip butter that was supposed to give sheer tint, a dewy shine, and rich hydration with the butter, acai oil, coconut oil. They were supposed to smell really good, like with a vanilla scent. And I'm surprised because Sol de Janeiro doesn't sell these anymore. And I wonder why they stepped away from this and then never returned, especially right now where you could come out with something pretty similar. Maybe not a lip butter, but they certainly could come out with like a lip oil, a glossy lip balm, and it would sell out immediately. You know, the babes would die for a Sol de Janeiro glossy lip balm. Like, they would be like selling it out in an instant. I wonder why they never went back to this. I know that like when this came out, people were not as impressed with like the subtle color. It wasn't very pigmented at all, but that was 2020. I think right now, if they released out something like this, it would be received really well, even if it was subtle color. I'll do you one better. They could release this exact same product, like with the sheerness, with the $18 price point, all of that as a re-release right now, and the girls would still go crazy over it. Am I wrong? Oh, Bite Beauty. I'm sad about Bite Beauty. I will forever be sad about Bite Beauty. They came out with their Amuse Bouche lip glosses in some sort of sheer shades and some of their classic known shades for about $22 in 2017. This was sheer to metallic glosses. So some of them just had like sheer color. Some of them had a little bit of that like metallic, almost glitter kind of finish to it. High shine. It was supposed to be jojoba oil added and a what they called a lightweight feel at the time. These were so cute. I think I had. I wanted to say that I had one of the deeper. I'm looking at the picture now. I feel like I had one of the deeper shades. Bite Beauty was just like one of my favorite brands at the time. Rest in peace, Bite Beauty. But like, I remember the glosses of this time being like really like the precursors to what we're seeing with like the glossy lip balms, if that makes sense. Like at this time, 2017, glossy balms didn't really exist. It was like glossy glosses. And where we're starting to see glosses that had some additional like ingredients added to it. So you were seeing like oils, like jojoba oils, like seed oils and different things like hyaluronic acid were starting to just come into like the lip gloss formulas. And I feel like glosses that had some sort of seed oil in them with high shine is the precursor to the glossy lip balm. And in a lot of ways is the exact same thing with a different applicator. What do you think? Am I off base with that? Because I just feel like we've got essentially the same things that we loved back in 2017, but just with like a new packaging and a new way to apply. So instead of doe foot applicators in like a gloss form, you're getting a lot more of the, squeeze up packaging with like the, rubber angled applicator at the end. Another thing that is not around anymore, the KKW Fragrance Diamond Collection. Do y'all remember this? These were $55 each. I think they were about $55. And each one of the Kardashian sisters, Kourtney, Kim, and Khloe, had their own take on a diamond scent. So the ruby scent was Kourtney's, and it was a spicy rose scent with warm vanilla and sandalwood that gave sultry date night energy. Then there was Emerald. That was Kim's scent. It was a fresh green floral with juicy pear and soft woods, perfect for a clean, everyday vibe. And then Khloe had the Sapphire scent, the blue scent, a creamy blueberry vanilla blend with sea salt and soft florals. It was sweet, beachy, and cozy all at once. These were released September of 2020, and people thought that the scents were pretty good. I didn't remember any like bad reviews or negative reviews about it, but I mean, come on, like these were just very surface level scents. Like anybody and everyone at this point, and at that point still, was able to come out with a vanilla sandalwood scent. revolutionary, right? A peach scent and, a sweet vanilla blueberry scent. Sure. We've seen so many different celebrities come out with fragrances, and it's sort of like a short lived thing because they come out with a scent, people like it just because they're a fan of that particular person, and then it goes away. And then they come out with a new one, and then it goes away. Then they come out with a new one. It's just like this cycle of just very light to mid scent perfumes or fragrances that really don't add anything unique other than the same combinations that we've been buying for a long time. Combinations I like. I get that of vanilla sandalwood, but did we really need it in like a ruby packaging? And I definitely remember people talking about how it wasn't really like that strong in scent throw. So it's like, if I need a vanilla sandalwood, baby, I can go to Bath and Body Works for that. I don't necessarily need a $55 like ruby colored fragrance that was created by a Kardashian. AF 94, if you aren't familiar with that brand, they are pretty much exclusive to Walmart. And it's a secondary brand based off of Halsey, the artist, who also has another brand About Face. This is supposed to be like a playful, young, colorful brand at an affordable price point. That's why they're pretty much exclusive to, not pretty much, they are exclusive to Walmart. That is still around, but I think it's being phased out quite a bit now. At the time in 2022, they came out with the Playdate Glow 2-in-1 Dewy Cheek and Lip color. This was $10 and they had a bunch of different products. And I thought that this idea was really great to have like a full brand that matches the sort of prestige price point or close to it with About Face, and then to have a smaller collection that was at Walmart that was affordable. But I don't see a lot of people talk about this brand. And like I said, I think it's really phasing out. It kind of reminds me of like festival season. Like everything they do just feels like, makeup that you would buy if you're getting ready to go to a bunch of festivals and you want to put like really cute decals on your face and you want to do like a bright colored winged eyeliner or something like that, but not really like the vibe of today. I definitely think color still has its place. Not everyone is a clean girl, but like it seemed very late. Even in 2022, like I just think that it was kind of like it would have been better as maybe a seasonal collection or a limited edition collection. But I don't know. Let me know. Have you tried anything of AF 94? Do you still see it around? Every time I go to Walmart, I see it as a sale product. So that's why I said I think it's being phased out. But About Face is still around. And I actually have a few products that I want to review from them. So I'm going to have to get to that. Moving on. We've been talking a lot about sunscreens lately, and so Tatcha and the Silkscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 50. This came out in early 2023, and I just recently mentioned it when I talked about all of the sunscreens that I have in my collection. There's just been so much new outrage about sunscreens and mineral sunscreens in particular having a white cast and what that means, and people being upset about it. And this is one of the products that I named in one of the videos I did on TikTok. Maybe I'll attach it here so you can hear what I said. Tower 28 is making some really odd moves, and I don't understand what's happening. They recently released their SOS Face Guard SPF 30. It is a mineral sunscreen, and now they're getting backlash, so much so that the founder and CEO had to release a statement and apology yesterday on Instagram. So they released this product and they said it was supposed to have a universal tint and that it was supposed to be no white cast. But when customers and content creators were receiving the product and reviewing it, they noticed that it had a bad white cast, especially on deeper skin. Why did they do this? There's no way that they were able to formulate this product, test it in-house, meaning, with their own staff, and do any external testing with anyone else without seeing that it had a white cast. It's an odd move to me. What's even more odd to me is that I went to their TikTok to see if they addressed it over there or maybe had a video or something like that. And I didn't see like an apology posted there. But what I did see is one of the advertisements they did ahead of the product coming out, and it looks like it's AI generated. Like there's a number of like creator faces and it's got that AI look. Now I can't confirm it, but a lot of people in the comments were talking about like, is this AI? This looks AI generated. It's very odd because in that actual advertisement, there are people of deeper skin and it looks like they're applying the product. Even if you had done that, even if you had sent the product out to, say, some customers or fans or creators ahead of its release, they would have told you that it had a white cast. Now, if this is an AI generated advertisement, then, that's a moot point. But that's really odd to me that they decided to release it. The brands that are similar to Tower 28 in terms of like the audience and vibe that they give off is very much similar to like a Summer Fridays. And I just went through a whole bunch of sunscreens that are mineral sunscreens that have a white cast, and I have not seen a lot of backlash for these particular products. So, for example, one of the Summer Fridays, I could probably pop it on screen, Summer Fridays mineral sunscreens, bad white cast. Tatcha's Silk Serene Sunscreen Mineral Version, white cast. Fenty Skin, not a white cast, a purple cast, a pink purple cast. And I see people every once in a while talk about it, but they seem to have gotten away with it. Now, in some of those brands' defenses, all great brands that I love, in some of their defenses, they also offer other sunscreen products that don't have a white cast. So maybe it's a little bit easier for us to forgive if a brand has a white cast product because they have other options for you. Maybe Tower 28 figured, hey, other brands within my sort of scoping community of brands that are recognizable just like me, they've gotten away with it. So maybe we can just kind of like see how this does and keep moving. They've also released in that same statement that went out to Instagram that they are going to remove the language that says universal tint and that it works for all skin tones. They're also deciding that they're going to kind of go back to the lab and create something that is going to work for darker skin. And it makes me wonder, after so much that we see in the beauty community, and if you're like me and you've been here since Beauty Guru era, 2016 era, you know that this is also an opportunity to, garner more interest. Controversy is still the same, right, as anything positive. All press is good press kind of thing. And I don't want to assume too much negativity around Tower 28 because I like the brand and I still am excited to see what they do and excited to see what they do with like the new version of their sunscreen. I just have to wonder why they would be making so many odd choices with such a good brand that people really love. I don't know, but we'll see if they fix it. What do you think? Is it odd to you, or maybe it's just me that noticed like this is an odd thing for them to do? I mentioned this product as one of the ones that flew under the radar and is still being sold today that has a white cast, and no one seems to have a problem with it. Like I said, it was released in early 2023. It's supposed to be a lightweight mineral sunscreen that's enriched with niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, silk extract. It's reef safe and blends clear, primes the skin, and delivers a soft, radiant finish. So, that's not true. I have it. I have a sample of it. And it was also included in the Sephora Sun Safety Kit this year. And I couldn't understand why. I've complained about this a few times on TikTok videos. I don't understand why some brands are continuing to include their mineral sunscreen products in widely used spaces. So like things like the Sephora Sun Safety Kit, or as free gift with purchases, or as little add-ons on their website, on Ulta's website, on Sephora's website. When you do that, I presume that you want people to know about your product. It's not about getting a free product, because I have gotten, like, for example, the Dr. Dennis Gross, the yellow sunscreen. I've gotten it many times as free gift with purchases that are just like added in a bundle of other ones. And some may say, well, why complain about something free? It's the idea that a brand would willingly put one of their products out for the masses as promotion. Remember, things like free gift with purchases, or a purchase bonus for a different purchase that you made through a retailer or directly through that brand's site, is supposed to get people interested in the product. Ideally, you would try this sample and be like, wow, I really like this sunscreen. Wow, I like how it wears. I like how it looks. And then you would buy the full size product. It's the fact that brands will give free product or specially feature a product like in a Sephora Sun Safety Kit, knowing that it has a white cast and not caring, because you know that it's not going to work for a large population of this country and of the world, really. And you're still doing it because you don't care, because you figure, well, half the world can't use it, but the other half can, and that's whose money I want. This is not a political channel, but that's what it's giving. And this doesn't make me not like Tatcha. I still like Tatcha. My sort of general rule of thumb is, if you have other sunscreens available that people can use that don't have a white cast, I will let it pass for a little while. But if we're going to talk about sunscreens and how they are not being inclusive, and there's sort of this movement to go back to mineral sunscreens that are not inclusive, and we don't know where the technology can go. We don't know if brands are really putting in a lot of effort. Science is putting in medicine. Are they putting effort into making some mineral sunscreens that will work? We don't know where that's going, but I do know that brands are making choices. And I think that with the new controversy surrounding Tower 28 and their new mineral sunscreen that has a white cast, we're forgetting that there are other brands that are doing that too. And the reason why Tower 28 was so confident in their ability to do that is because other brands like Dr. Dennis Gross and Tatcha and some of our other favorite brands have been doing that for at least 5 years, some 10 years. That was a really long tangent, but I just have to say it. Florasis is one of those brands that I think people legitimately just like because it's beautiful. They came out with their Forest Aura makeup palette. It's sort of like a Asian inspired fan. It's so beautiful. It's $59. They released it in early 2022 and then re-released it that fall because people went crazy over it. I can say that the people that I've watched reviews that have tried Florasis like as a makeup brand and actually used the products have said that the finishes and the formulas are really nice, but very light. So very sheer colors for like lip products and things like that. Very light product, like light pigmentation for eyeshadows and things like that. The pull for this is just beautiful. It's like art essentially. I don't see myself buying any of it because I know I wouldn't use it because I'd be like, it's too pretty. My precious, it's too pretty. I couldn't use it. But some have, and this was just such a beautiful palette. So I just wanted to show it because I had the picture. This is a fan-shaped eyeshadow palette inspired by the dye culture, DAI, featuring 8 engraved shades in earthy mattes, luminous jewel tones, and shimmers. People really love the packaging. That's what it's here for. What do you think? With packaging, are you more inclined to buy something that has beautiful packaging? Or do you want streamlined, clean girl packaging with like very minimal printing and like aesthetics attached to it? I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I really do like plain packaging that's like, usable. And then sometimes I like the beautiful packaging too. I'm in the middle. At this point, this whole video is becoming like an entire roast of beauty brands, but let's talk about Celine Beauty. They came out with an entire collection of beauty products in 2024 and even in 2025 a little bit. So they pre-launched a bunch of pop-up products like lipsticks and things like that. And then there was a 15 shade range of new lipsticks that just came out early this year. Then there's a whole broad line expansion of things like mascara, there's eyeliners, there's blush, loose powder, lip balms, nail polishes, all of that. I put this here just because I wanted to call out all of the luxury beauty houses, luxury fashion houses, turn beauty houses that are selling us makeup that no one really wants unless you are a fan of that actual luxury collection. I don't think any of these brands like Celine, Chanel, YSL, Tom Ford, I don't really think they care about being players in the beauty space, meaning they're almost never pigmented shades. They're almost never long wearing makeup. They're never products that really perform the way that we like to see from other brands, prestige brands, other Sephora brands, or Ulta brands. They're really just capitalizing off the name of that luxury beauty house. And I'm a part of that too. Like I love some of these products from these brands, but I just know that when I'm getting a product like that, I'm getting something that is sort of lighter, sheerer, not as pigmented, and something that just like looks pretty. Like we can get that too, but it's just really funny that it's like now if you have a luxury fashion house, they're gonna come out with makeup, and some of them have really good products too. There are some products like from Dior Beauty that is considered like really cute makeup that people love, right? But then there's some that is just like, what are you doing? There's some things that come out from Gucci Beauty that it's like, come on. Or like Hermes came out with makeup and it's like, in what year, in what time space continuum has anybody asked for this? Okay, this cannot be an entire roast, so we'll just move on. When Beauty doesn't get the attention that it really deserves for actually being a really good makeup brand from a celebrity. They launched in spring 2024, so just over a year ago, and they've got a whole collection of products, which includes their hydrating skin tint, that's an SPF 30, a soft matte concealer, tubing mascara, liquid eyeliner, eyeliner pencils, matte lipsticks, intense lipsticks, and their lip serums as well. I have tried a few products from Win Beauty and I love them. The lip and cheek sort of 2-in-1 products are so good. And people have tried different products from Win Beauty and liked them, but they never seem to get into the conversation of like really powerful, celebrity led, but really great brand conversation. As a matter of fact, I don't see them being talked about hardly ever, which is interesting. I think that there's something that probably needs to happen with like their marketing and their tactics. I think they do send out products to influencers and things like that. And like I said, the reviews, when I see them, they're usually favorable. People like the products, but so for some reason, it never gets into that conversation of like, this is a great brand and it's, you know, Black led. I can't say Black owned because I don't know if Serena is the sole owner or if she's acting as founder. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I'll pop some information on the screen. But this is a good brand and I like their products. I can't even believe that it's been only a year. I hope that they continue to grow and do more. They're sold at Ulta Beauty. If you're looking for a brand that is sort of in the middle between clean girl aesthetic and full on powerful pigmented makeup, something in between, I think this is it. I think that's why they're perfectly placed at Ulta. These are products that you can build up. These are products that work really well with like any skincare you put on top of them because it's going to be like hydrating but not greasy, you know, give you coverage that can be built up, like I said, but like not giving you too much. It's sort of in the middle. If you're interested in any new beauty brands to check out, try Win Beauty. They don't get talked about enough. Child, I guess this lighting decided. So apparently there's going to be like a storm in a second, and I should have checked the weather. But why would I do that? Why would I actually be prepared? I've got way more things that I could talk about that I have in my slides, but we'll just save it for next time because looks like it's going to storm outside and I'm sitting in front of my window with a few little extra lights. It's going to get really crazy with the shadows and all of that. So let's just stop it here. This is Spinning the Beauty Block episode 4. Let me know in the comments, which products do you remember from the 2017 all the way up to last year? What products do you think really worked well? Which ones do you think that they really just need to improve? And which brands do you think are just like trying too hard and they should just let it go? Let me know, and I will see you next time.